Today I want to talk about the Slalom, which is one of our new models, actually the newest of all our mid-ranges. So it's based off a board from the late 60s, which was about 69, so it was like transition from the long board to the short boards, and they didn't have it really figured out. But the outlines on a lot of these boards are really, really good. And so I got inspired by the outline on this board, which was sort of a gunny short board type shape from that era. So what I did is I changed it quite a bit, but kept some of the elements of the most of the outline, but everything else is very modernized, especially like the rails and the foil and the rocker. This is a pretty contemporary board. I would say it's sort of like a mid-range with a lot of shortboard characteristics. Like, you feel this rail on this board and it feels like it could be a 6'2" tri-fin, the rail itself, not the outline. Obviously the other elements are sort of more mid-range type elements, but there's definitely a lot of shortboard influence. So the idea was to make like a mid-range that's like drivey and loose, and you can surf a bigger wave, and you could really get a lot of speed and surf a hollower, steeper beach break, point break, any kind of condition. I wouldn't say this is like a low end board for small waves. I would look at this more as like your step up board or your everyday like winter board. You still got a good amount of nose for paddling. It's fairly flat. It's not too much rocker, just enough. Like I find with the rockers on these performance-y type mid-ranges, it doesn't take a lot, to still keep the performance element, and then you still get all the benefits of the speed and the paddling. So this board comes with a pintail. It's pretty much the only way we make this model. And then the fin configuration varies. We go really from like a single fin to like a quad fin, and that's basically the two setups that we're doing on this model. We wanted to kind of keep it. We found that the single fin worked really good with this board for like the cruisier type turning, and then if you wanted to have something more aggressive, more performance oriented, you'd go with a quad. And if somebody really wanted like a tri-fin option, or we've even made I think we made a twin or two. So that's always a possibility. It wasn't really designed for that, but it would work for that. So the bottom is really pretty basic. The rocker and the outliner is doing most of the work, and so everything's very smooth and gradual on it. So it has a little bit of roll in the nose, with basically flat, and with some V's. So you get up in the nose, it's a little bit of roll, not much, just enough to break the water up a little bit, and then you're pretty flat in there, and then you start with a double, like just past the middle, and that kind of is not super deep, and it kind of goes all the way out, like right where about the back fins are if we're on a quad, and then it pretty much flattens out right in the end of the tail. For a pintail, it's good to have it go out flat across the back, so you get the punch you need rather than having the V go all the way out there. So the double kind of is holding the water under the bottom just enough to where it'll get you around a steep section, if it's really ledging or it's overhead, but not enough to where it's going to feel like it's going to track and like draw too long of a line. So that's definitely a nice feel. Like overall, you just get on it and you're like, oh, this feels really natural and easy to surf. That was the idea. Hard rail back here, just like I said, just sort of like a shortboard rail. Pretty, still got a little bit of it's a tucked edge right in here, and then soft up here, so you can come off of a high turn off the top and not catch. So, yeah, overall, it's a super easy board to ride. I would say skill level. I definitely think you need to pump this board. You need to like, it's made to generate speed to like drive. You can surf this in a pretty fast beach break, and you won't have a problem making the section because you're able to drive it. But it's kind of still has that effortless feel where it has some rail lines, so it can carry your turns, and you don't have to struggle to make the sections. But you definitely got to have like a certain amount of skill level, and like I said, you don't want to surf this in like really small junky waves like wind swell. It's just not going to be that much fun. I got plenty of other boards to do that. And then for sizing, I guess you basically, if you're riding, I would say like 7.6 is the middle of the road, like typical, like quintessential sort of mid-range size. So, like if you're a smaller person, you'd go down to 7.0, 7.2, or even down shorter if you want like sort of more shortboard attributes like 6.8. And then if you wanted to have like more of a gunny and you're a bigger guy or tall, then you might want to go like 7.6 and bigger. Even to 7.10 if you really like, you don't want to give up paddling. Definitely the thing is paddles are really well. And I think, at 7.6 stock dimensions, you probably float somebody easily 190, no problem at all. So yeah, I think that's the slalom.